We're going to navigate some Ocarina websites. First up, you know it, you might have mixed feelings about it, but we are going to go over STL Ocarina. So STL Ocarina, they have a huge variety of ocarinas. They have stuff on like the Element series for Zelda fans, a bunch of different like themed ocarinas. They have a reputation of being like somewhat gimmicky, which I don't necessarily disagree with, like Christmas ornament ocarinas, teacup ocarinas, things like that, or very much ocarinas that fulfill some kind of visual niche. But in terms of their selection, they have a ton of just like solid instruments. I've purchased a bunch from STL and I've never had like a bad instrument from them. I do have some very mixed feelings about their nomenclature. So for example, if you go to their classic 12-hole ocarinas, you'll see that their 12-hole tenor ocarina is it's called the tenor ocarina. There is no such thing as a tenor ocarina. There might be some nomenclatures that use tenor as a terminology for the range of ocarina, but what STL calls a tenor ocarina is an alto C ocarina or an alto ocarina. It is not a tenor ocarina. So if you are shopping on stlocarina.com, if it says tenor ocarina, that means alto C ocarina. And you can see they even have inconsistencies. No, actually, they have a tenor G, which would be an alto G. And right here, they have an alto G, which is actually a soprano G. Like, see, it says alto ocarina and G major. But if you look at the ocarina, do a little, can I zoom in? It says SG right there, as in soprano G. So, STL has incorrect nomenclature on almost all of their ocarinas outside of their bass and sopranos. They call alto Gs tenor Gs, and they call soprano Gs alto Gs. Ignore the nomenclature on the ocarina, and if you ignore that nomenclature, STL does have some really good options. So as you navigate STL Ocarina, make sure you know what the actual range of the ocarina you're getting. Like this 12-hole tenor G, 12-hole tenor ocarina in G major Labyrinth. I have this ocarina. It's very nice, but it's an alto G, not a tenor G. Because tenor ocarinas do not exist in terms of popular ocarina terminology. No other website calls it a tenor. So watch David Eric Ramos's video on why tenor ocarinas don't exist, because they don't. And I don't like STL's nomenclature, but in terms of their actual ocarinas, they're solid. Most of the ocarinas they have are not actually made by them, but imported from various companies in China. But yeah, they are solid instruments. So if you want an STL ocarina, I will not discourage you from buying the ocarina, but I will encourage you to take a second to slow down, make sure that you're getting the ocarina that you actually think you're getting, and know that there's no such thing as a tenor ocarina. Look at the range of the ocarinas they provide and match it to more popular or more prevalent tuning, like E4 to C6. That's a more typical range for an alto G ocarina, not a tenor G, because tenor G does not exist. Anyways, you can find pretty much any ocarina that you can need or think of on their Our Ocarinas tab on top, between Legend of Zelda fans, classic 12 holes, D&D themed, Element themed, Zelda, more Zelda themes, or Legend themed, beginner, plastic, themed ocarinas, multi-chamber for professionals, for young musicians, T-Carinas, Ocarina Necklace, pendant ocarinas, and homeschool. Honestly, STL is really good for their plastic selection because they have plastics at a really good price, and they're not bad instruments. While the plastics that I personally recommend more lean towards Focal Link and Night by Noble, these are still decent options. In conclusion, STL has pretty solid ocarinas. Their themed stuff, like for example, if we go to their themed ocarinas, that's not basically none of these are the type of instrument that I would buy, except for maybe like some of the cute little Zodiac ones. But there's a good chance you'll find a themed ocarina you think is interesting and could potentially help to express yourself. Again, I'm not gonna like say STL's a bad company, blah 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 blah. The tenor ocarinas don't exist, but STL is not a bad company. They have weird nomenclature and themed ocarinas that can make the company look excessively gimmicky, but their ocarinas are generally solid, and it's a great place to start due to the really high selection. Just be careful as you make that selection to make sure you're getting the ocarina you think you're getting. Moving on to Songbird. Songbird is also a very, very solid source, and honestly, there's absolutely nothing that's a red flag about Songbird to me. Their site is really easy to navigate. Just go to their shop. If you want to go for beginners, there's going to be typically plastic stuff or pendant ocarinas, things like that. This is a great place to start if you're getting your very first ocarina. For professionals, you're going to get more of like their multi-chamber stuff or their ceramic 12 holes, and these are all amazing. Like their 7-piece professional ocarina set. It's not actually the real ranges for a septet, but it's cool to know that it's a type of thing that you can in fact purchase in one go. Getting like sets of ocarinas or big base ocarinas, because all their nomenclature is correct here. Between the double sweet potato, that it is soprano G, and that is true soprano G. Alto C, that is alto C. It even says AC on it. This is what STL would call tenor C. So just Songbird Ocarina has a lot of really solid choices. Some of their stuff definitely leans more towards the art piece side, like legitimately an art piece, more so than like the instrument side, but I've never had a bad experience with something I bought from Songbird. Everything that I've had just feels very high quality, and they have a really great selection as well. So, like, for example, we've gone through beginner and professionals. I really like their Zelda replicas, like their Ocarina of Time Kokiri edition. While 2 of these holes are fake, it's the most accurate looking Ocarina of Time replica you can get alongside the ceramic version. I really like their Zelda stuff. I really, really like their light up stuff. I have played this. I do not own a Synesthesia Ocarina, but I have played a Synesthesia Ocarina, and basically what it does is, depending on the pitch you play, these white orbs on it right here, they light up to like a color corresponding to the pitch. So you can kind of color, what's it called? You could basically make a color show that matches your playing, and it's really, really cool. Honestly, if it weren't always sold out when I checked, I would definitely have one of these. They're quite expensive, but oh my god, are they cool. So my favorite things from my biggest thing that I want from Songbird would be the luminous stuff. Their multi-chamber options are also really great. My favorite multi-chamber ocarina is the Songbird Harmony Triple. I own it. It is my favorite ceramic ocarina to play. It's my favorite ocarina to play, but not my #1 favorite ocarina. You'll have to watch my video about that to know why. And they have a really great selection of multi-chambers, aside from the fact that there's not really any bass options. Oh, tenor ocarina. Oh, so that would be alto G, but that's a slight misnomer. But this would be alto G, not tenor G. But yeah, they have a great selection. I honestly, every time I go to Songbird, I check their limited edition stuff, because this is like, almost all of these are one of a kind, and it's really cool to have an ocarina that nobody else has, or something like that. Because like I have a pearl finish Ocarina of Time replica similar to this fairy ocarina, but it's like in a really, really glossy pearl finish, and I just think it's so pretty. Just to navigate Songbird's website, really just go by the category you want. You are not going to be deceived by anything they have here. Their marketing is quite straightforward, which is really helpful when you're buying an instrument, when it's the pull strategy and the consumer is investigating for themselves. Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Songbird. Great places to just see a big chunk of the selection would either be the transverse style or just going into the Zelda replicas, because transverse pretty much has like anything you'd possibly want here. Oh, they have a contrabass? I learned something. I didn't know they had a contrabass. But $620, that's very expensive. Songbird's very good. Very, very good. You can get your plastic ocarinas. The Bravura Alto C in black is one of my favorite plastic ocarinas. Yeah, I'm rambling. I'm just kind of going on and on and on. But I highly recommend Songbird. This is probably the most user-friendly ocarina website, in that there's a great selection, it's really beginner-friendly, and there is absolutely no misinformation, aside from the one thing labeled as tenor in the key of G. But that one thing is really no big deal. And I can overlook that one thing because they label their Alto Cs as Alto Cs, so you know what you're gonna get. And this is the standard nomenclature. You're not gonna be confused by buying something from STL thinking like, I have a tenor C ocarina. Why does it sound like an Alto C? That's not a tenor C. You'll just get what you expect, and you'll get a very solid instrument. Those are my thoughts on Songbird. So next up, we have the more difficult to navigate website being Imperial City Ocarinas. So as you can see, the website does not look particularly new. This definitely looks like a website made in like between 2000 and 2010. But just because the website is outdated looking does not mean the ocarinas suck. However, because the website is a little outdated, it can be a little intimidating to try to navigate and get what you want. So to get to the ocarinas, you can just, the homepage right here is just an intro on the company and gives you some links to like information and stuff like that. But where you are really gonna go to for Imperial City Ocarina to get your ocarinas is just, so looking at the Ocarina and Zun products, basically just look at the category you want to look at. So for example, if we go to 12-hole ocarinas, you'll be able to basically just see all the varieties there are, ranging from soprano 12-hole in the key of C to soprano 12-hole key of F, soprano G, alto C, alto D, alto F, alto G, bass C, and bass G. So they have a lot more options for non-traditional ranges, because these ocarinas are all made rather simply and low cost. So this is very much like cover all the bases. You don't need to make very many of the non-traditional ones, but it's nice that they're there. So you just basically just go for the left side, Ocarina and Zun products, and then pick the category you want to look at. I personally am a huge fan of their base ocarina selection. Like for example, their base C is only $100. Getting a base C from any other website is going to cost you like $200-300, maybe more, and a base G will cost you even more than that. So Imperial City by far has the best pricing on their ocarinas, and there's little to no sacrifice in quality. I've never had a bad instrument from here. Everything I've tried that other people have owned has been fantastic. And one of my favorite ocarinas is a bass triple. Speaking of which, let's just skip double and jump over to triples. So basically, just go to the left side, pick the category that you want to look at, and then continue going down. They have alto C triples, and they range all the way down to alto G triples, alto F triples. Then they go to bass C, and no bass G triples. I would love a bass G triple, but that would be so ergonomically difficult to carry and really heavy, so I can see why it's not there. But if you want to go even crazier, they have quadruple chamber ocarinas, which are also bass key of C. $225, the best pricing you can get for anything like that. And yeah, just go to the left side, navigate to the category of ocarina you want. To summarize the experience on Imperial City Ocarina, first, from the homepage, go to the Ocarina and Zun products. I don't know if I'm saying Zun or Jun right. Pick the category you want. So let's say 12-hole. And then if, let's say I want an alto 12-hole in the key of G, just shoot an email via info@imperialcityocarina.com and include the type of ocarina that you want, which would be alto 12-hole key of G. Just copy paste that, and you should be good to go. They'll send you an invoice as far as I know, and if not, then it's all good. So for example, on here, there isn't an add to cart, there's just the email thing. The ocarinas here are great. I really like Imperial City Ocarina. And next we'll go on to, by far, the simplest of the ocarina websites. Not in the fact that it's like, oh, simple and easy to navigate, which it is. More so the fact that the selection is very small. The first three sites that we've looked at, STL, Songbird, Imperial City, all have huge selection, and I spent the majority of my time just going through the categories, explaining how to get to the ocarinas you want, and any caveats you might have, or any caveats you might want to consider before you buy an ocarina, things like that. This next website, which is Spencer Ocarina. So Spencer Ocarina, the home right here, that basically just shows you the main selection. There's a little bit about Spencer Ocarina as a company and Spencer as a maker. made in North Carolina. So these are all made in the United States, which I cannot say about most of these sites. In fact, most of STLs are made in China. Songbird is both a maker, so a lot of most of what they make is made in California, but a lot of what they have is made by Focalink / Stein and imported, so not made by them. They are a vendor for Focalink, so they make their own and are a vendor. Whereas Imperial City is everything they make is original. There's no like they're not a vendor for anyone else other than themselves. And then Spencer, he also just makes his own, and he is a solo maker who very much considers these art pieces. They are a bit hefty on the price side, but they do have a very signature sound. I own 2 ocarinas, that being the special edition Ocarina of Time and the Virtuoso series Double Alto C. They're fantastic instruments. There's only 9 options here, so just if you're buying from Spencer, just go to shop, click on the one you want, and then there's one more step to be aware of. So let's say you want to get the Ocarina of Time replica from Spencer, which is one of my favorite ocarinas. It is so beautiful. As you can see in this picture, the subholes are both on the right hand, whereas in this picture, the subholes are on different hands. So that's right hand and that's left hand. This is a very, very important consideration. So before you buy the ocarina, make sure you get the subhole configuration that you want. I prefer split subholes because it's easier just to do one finger on each hand like that. But if you're like my friend David, and you prefer to have single hand subholes, then that's what you're going to want to put. So make sure you pick the correct subhole layout. And this applies to, I believe, every single ocarina on Spencer's site. Another thing to consider is that if you look closely there, there's a little notch on the sound hole, the fipple hole. That's intentional. If you get it, it's not a mistake. Spencer does have like by far just like the simplest shop to go through because there's the fewest options. They're all Alto C. Some are Zelda, some are not. And just when you buy it, make sure you are selecting the proper hole layout that you like for subholes, whether that's split, my preference, or single hand, which would be David Ramos's preference. Okay, so to summarize, going back to STL, they have an amazing selection, and their plastic ocarinas, their themed ocarinas, they're more like niche, I don't want to say novelty, but novelty ocarinas. This is the place to get those. Songbird, they also have an amazing selection. I think a lot of these are a bit better than similar things you might get from STL. But for STL, you can get really highly specific in the exact aesthetic that you want, and I think that's really valuable. Whereas with Songbird, it's very much like a mix of art piece and solid instrument for many of the ceramic options, like Dragon Tooth of Fire Opal, the Muse. These are all very artistic-looking ocarinas. For Imperial City, these are absolutely function ocarinas. They have amazing sound. Their price is insanely low. And to order, all you need to do is just shoot an email with the ocarina you want to info@imperialcity.com right there. Let me just zoom in. info@imperialcity.com. Yeah. Then for Spencer, all you need to do is select the ocarina that you want and then pick the subhole layout. Spencer ocarinas are both amazing instruments and very much an art piece, so it justifies the price. Whereas you can just get such an amazing ocarina for such a low price from Imperial City. So what are my final thoughts? What vendor should a beginner buy from? Honestly, if you're buying your very first ocarina, I would recommend a plastic from either Songbird, that being like the Bravura Alto C. If you want to get a plastic from STL, you can, but I strongly recommend the Bravura Alto C, especially in black, or Night by Noble, which is not on any of these sites, but you can get on Amazon for close to the same price. But outside of like your very first ocarina to decide whether or not ocarinas are for you, I would generally recommend, if you want to get a Zelda replica, Songbird is really good bang for buck, whether you're getting the Ocarina of Time Base C or the Ocarina of Time Alto C. STL is the most price effective, and then Spencer is by far just like the best by far, but also the most expensive by far. And then if you just want to get ocarinas that are pure function, or like if you want to get your first bass if you want to get any bass ocarina any multi-chamber, anything like that, Imperial City would probably be the best place to start. But if you want a more niche multi-chamber, like, for example, the Songbird Triple Harmony or the Harmony Double Ocarina right here, these are more niche multi-chamber ocarinas. I would more recommend buying from Songbird. STL also has some good multi-chamber options, but they're really expensive. And if you want purple clay multi-chamber ocarinas, just buy from Imperial City. Or if you want the Spencer sound, buy from Spencer. So I like all of these vendors. I have a bunch of ocarinas by all these vendors. I can't say one is necessarily better than the other because it's all based on what you need. And I hope that this little presentation, this little workshop, has helped to show what vendors might be right for you, how you can find what you need from their website, and in the case of STL, what information you should be aware of before purchasing the ocarina to make sure you don't get the wrong one. And Ocarina's Chief asks, have I ever looked at Hind Ocarina? I have looked at them, but I've never bought from them. So we're just going to do a quick look at Hind. They do make ocarinas out of wood, which... So I have played some wood ocarinas before. I have listened to wood ocarinas before. They are really cool. It's just the thing is, they are a bit less, how should I say, functional compared to ceramic, because they're a lot harder to make. Wood can warp, and moisture can also mess with wood. So while they are amazing instruments in the sense of how they're built and the craftsmanship that goes into them, unless you are really, really wanting a specifically wood ocarina, I would more recommend getting a ceramic or plastic ocarina. Just my 2 cents. But that's not to say that, like, oh, these are badly made or anything, because these are not badly made. These are amazingly made. But as you can see right here, Hind is actually taking a break from making ocarinas, so who knows when he'll be back. But in any case, ocarinas are fun. Let me know in the comments which of these vendors you've bought the most ocarinas from, and let me know which one you'll buy your next ocarina from. There's a ton of really interesting ocarinas you can purchase, and I hope this guide has helped to make these websites a bit less intimidating. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more ocarina and other content. Bye!